Look, I'm not going to waste your time on some generic business advice on how to scale your business. Instead, I'm going to show you exactly how I helped Lisa Nichols go from making $80,000 a year to building a $10 million empire. Now, I didn't just help her get an extra few clients. We helped her land a 7-figure book deal, no matter what. We got her another $750,000 book deal for Abundance Now. She got on Oprah, Larry King, The Today Show. We even took the company public. And this isn't some vague case study with inflated numbers. These are real, documented results from my 16 years of working with Lisa as her fractional COO. By the end of this video, you'll see the exact systems I put in place that took her from closing 4% to 67%. How we created 7 consecutive years of multi-million-dollar sales events, and how we grew her personal income to over 5,000%. So if you're an established business owner who's serious about scaling to 7 to 8 figures, this isn't theory. This is the exact blueprint I used with Lisa that you can apply in your business today. When I first started working with Lisa, I discovered something that shocked me about her business. It's the same critical flaw I see in about 80% of businesses today, and it's probably lurking in yours too. I started coaching her in 2002 when she was making about $80,000 a year. She's a very talented speaker, but lacked the business infrastructure. Her closing rate on stage was 4%. No systematic approach to growing her audience. Her database, Excel. Business was personally dependent on her rather than systems dependent. She was only as good as her last speaking event. And here's what you need to know. Applause, likes, they don't pay the bills. People loved her. She's amazing. And as a single mom raising a son, well, that didn't pay her rent in LA. Most owners are hustling their way versus creating a plan, following the plan, and executing the plan. It doesn't have to be boring when it's built from your passion and your purpose. If you're stuck in the hustle, no matter how many zeros that you're managing, then you need to listen up and take notes and apply what I'm talking about. 80% of small businesses aren't profitable. And out of the 80%, well, we aren't paying ourselves a proper paycheck. Don't be a statistics. Let's create the stat. Let's be the stat. Let me say this. I only work with game changer clients that have a mission. You don't have to be perfect, but you do have to be coachable and willing to invest in your transformation, both personally and in your business. We had to work on Lisa's money mindset as much as her business acumen. You can't charge thousands of dollars if you're in a poverty mindset. You know they'll never pay for that. They can't afford that. Quit spending their money. You do the work on you to earn the money you want, because your net worth will only grow as high as your self-worth. And here's what we needed to solve when I came on board. She had no clear financial roadmap or revenue targets, lack of backend systems to support significant growth, inconsistent sales process and poor lead conversion rate, limited revenue streams, creating cash flow vulnerabilities, no team accountability or structure, the business completely dependent on Lisa's personal time and energy. You know what it cost us? Millions. When we went on Oprah, the back end wasn't built to handle thousands of clients, so it broke. It was some of the most expensive lessons. No one anticipated the Oprah effect. That's why we need to future plan. Where will we be if this happens? What do we need to do? How do we handle the capacity? So that 15 minutes to fame cost us millions. But you know what? We learned a lot from it. So let me tell you what we learned. Here's where most consultants and coaches would have started, with that surface level marketing tricks. But I knew that would be like putting premium fuel in a car with a broken engine. Instead, we did something radically different that most business owners would never consider. We implemented a financial vision and roadmap. We created detailed financial forecasts with monthly targets. We implemented the cash calculator to determine how many qualified leads do we need. We established clear profit margins and cash flow projection. We built scenario planning on different growth trajectories. We set up financial tracking systems to measure the progress against the goals. After we established the financial roadmap, we encountered a massive roadblock that threatened to derail everything. The solution required completely rethinking a personality-based business. And it's something 99% of entrepreneurs get completely wrong. We systematized the back-end operations, meaning we documented all the business processes. We created SOPs. We built sales scripts and closing frameworks that everyone could follow. We implemented team accountability systems and KPIs. We created automated follow-up sequences for prospects. We developed systems that allowed the business to operate without Lisa. We had revenue lines. Lisa not there. By the way, if you're already seeing this and you're seeing that these systems could transform your business, you don't need to wait until the end of the video. Click the first link in the description and book a free business assessment call, where I'll help you identify your biggest operational gaps and create a custom roadmap for scaling to 7 or 8 figures. With systems in place, we still faced a critical vulnerability that could have collapsed the entire business overnight. The solution wasn't another revenue stream. It was a completely different way of thinking about business growth that flies in our face of conventional wisdom. We didn't get hooked by the sparkle, the shiny. We needed some serious back-end implementation. We needed to look at the entire business. We were building a 747 while we were flying. With the success of the book, the success of Oprah and Larry King, came bigger problems and bigger breakdowns. We had to be faster than the breakdowns. We completely did a strategic revenue wheel. We shifted from our mindset to programs, and we shifted it to transformation and a campus. And we looked at what did we need to do? How could we create a multiple year approach to transformation? Like a school does, like a campus does, like a college does. You don't get your master's in 1 year. You get your master's over 7 years. We reversed engineered. When marketers were saying sell a package at $19.97, we were selling $25,000 packages, then $15,000, then $9,000, then $4,000, then $997. We had a big machine, so we flipped the script. We didn't launch a continuation program until we had 300,000 qualified leads in our database. We said that program will weed out unqualified leads that our coaches and our sales team would talk to. Every speaking event, we couldn't see the path to 100,000. We didn't do it. It wasn't worth Lisa's time. Then as we got busier, we raised that to 250,000. Now her speaking fee was only 25 grand, but our back end is where we saw that ROI. And our campuses, our sales were minimum $1 million in the back end, or we just didn't play. This was the years of testing, tweaking, and improving. Lisa is a great coach because she's an amazing student, coachable. She listened, she stayed in her lane, she led. She let me lead the team. And at this point, most of businesses would have been satisfied with their growth, but we identified a glaring inefficiency that was leaving millions on the table. And we approached it with our marketing and our sales contradiction, because that contradicts everything that you've been taught about lead generation. Be willing to flip the script. I'm not interested in impressions and likes and Facebook fans. Who cares? Let's focus exclusively on qualified leads rather than volume. We worked on video-first content strategy. We looked at user-generated content from success stories. We had proprietary event sales approach and development and everything that we did. Our database building strategy that grew to 600,000 contacts and then to 1 million on social media across all platforms. Of course, the journey was not without significant hurdles. It was hard, right? In fact, we hit a wall so many times that at one point most businesses would have scaled back their ambition entirely. The way we navigated these challenges revealed a framework for problem solving that has become my secret weapon in every client since. One of the biggest challenges was cash flow. We were growing so fast and we didn't have enough people to supply the demand, and we didn't have the cash flow. Right? Until clients complained and balls were dropping, the team was burnt out. We had to do some serious conversation about qualifying team members. Just as you qualify your leads, you have to have qualified team members that you hire. So don't hire them fast. Don't look at, will they fit right now, but can they grow with us? That's when we implemented the Harrison assessment. And I have been using this for over 20 years. And it's the magic. It truly gave me the DNA of hiring someone. It allowed me to see, do they have what it takes to do this job, to make this division a winner? I didn't have time to hire people who weren't A players. That meant more money, which meant more sales, which meant better systems. It's all interconnected. The growth was exciting, but it was also daunting. We needed serious financial KPIs to see, were we getting the return on investment on everyone and everything? Lisa used to say to me that all you care about is money. No, but money gives us choices and allows us to hire the right people, getting them to do the right job. That gives the owner, the founder, freedom and a frickin' vacation. Somebody has to be a stand for the business and the finances, not just the money that you charge. The model is so broken and you keep paying for it. You don't need another class. You don't need another widget. You need a strategy that works, not freaking theory. I've done this 10 times for myself and hundreds of times for clients. We only do the highest income producing activities, no more bullshit. Just what's the value to the organization? What's Lisa's value and what's Mark's value? That will manage the result. When I took over, there were no systems, there were no guidelines, or someone had it in their head, and every time somebody would leave, it would cost us thousands because we'd have to start over. There was no roadmap, there was no breadcrumb trail, there was just a big gaping hole. Imagine the loss of intel and resources we would lose when we'd have to start again. So I made sure everyone made their division better than when they came. We bought everyone's computer, so no more using your own computer. We created intellectual property agreements and confidentiality agreements to protect Lisa and the brand. If you left, your computer was sent back to us, or if you were sued. Talk about a wake-up call for people. We created centralized systems so everyone was looking at the same document, not an outdated process or not an outdated document, not hodgepodge, yes. I was the bitch that we had to create and hold people accountable to create that well-oiled machine. You have to look at the bigger picture. And you know what I realized? Is most of you won't do it. You'll hear this and you'll keep doing business as usual. You'll do it the same way that you feel comfortable doing it because you're committed to being comfortable. You're committed to being liked versus being a leader, versus being a business person. Now let me show you the exact results that we created for Lisa and how we achieved that. And I want you to pay close attention to the third metric I'm about to share, because there's power inside of that. It reveals the most daunting, the most counterintuitive initiative. The measurable results, well, the financial growth, we went from $80,000 a year to $10 million a year. Sales performance, our closing rate increased. Our team satisfaction went up. Our closing rate went from 4% to 67%. Our event revenue, 7 consecutive years in a row, we had $1 million sales events. We had publishing success. We had co-authors. We had a 7-figure book deal, no matter what. We had a $750,000 book deal for Abundance Now. The media exposure, we were featured on Oprah, Larry King, Today Show. Database grew and expanded over to 600,000 contacts and over 1 million contacts in social media. What does that do? That adds credibility. We took the company public. We raised $2.5 million of other people's money to grow the infrastructure. She was one of the first African-American companies to go public. That's something to be proud of. Was it easy? No, but it was strategic. The transformation happened beyond the balance sheet. Something that changed, that not just Lisa's business, but created a template for the success I now use for hundreds of other entrepreneurs. We created a sustainable business that continues to impact millions. We established Lisa as a leading authority in her industry. We built systems that allowed for work-life balance, despite the massive growth. She would take vacation. We would carve that out at the beginning of the year. We developed a plan to allow her to grow and be less in the forefront of the business. We transformed not just a business, but created a lasting legacy. So that's exactly how I helped transform Lisa Nichols' business from 80,000 to 10 million. I didn't share this to brag, but to show you what's possible when you implement the right operations and strategies in your business. The truth is 80% of businesses fail within the first 5 years because they don't have the foundation in place. And so you have two options. One, you can figure it out on your own. potentially spending years in trial and error, working 50 plus hours a week, or you can work with someone like myself who's already created and curated a blueprint that you can adapt specifically for your business. So if you're serious about scaling your business to 7 or 8 figures, I want you to click the link in the description and book a business assessment call with me. On this call, I'll help you identify specific gaps in your business, create a roadmap for scaling to your next level of success. And you know what? This isn't for everyone. I only work with established business owners who are willing to be coachable, willing to be vulnerable, willing to take radical action. And if that's you, click the link, book your call. Let's create your path to 7 to 8 figures and beyond. You don't have to suffer. This is optional. Be radical. The world needs your message, your gift. Don't waste it. Thanks for watching. Give me a thumbs up, subscribe so you can see more case studies like this, and I'll see you in the next video.